animals have shaped the world in ways we don't always notice. From ancient battlefields to global diets, some species have completely changed how humans live, work, and even think. In this video, we'll be looking at 7 animals that truly changed human history. And we'll start with a creature that helped launch entire civilizations. Horses are one of the most important animals in human history. They've been around us for thousands of years, and their partnership with people changed everything, from how wars were fought to how far humans could travel. Domesticated around 3500 BCE in Central Asia, horses gave early humans speed, power, and a serious advantage over anyone still walking. They were used in battle, transportation, farming, and even communication. Remember the Pony Express? Entire empires, like the Mongols, wouldn't have existed without them. The horse allowed Genghis Khan's armies to move incredibly fast, striking deep into enemy territory before anyone could react. In many ways, horses were the original tanks of the ancient world. Today, they're mostly used in sports and recreation, but their influence on human history is hard to overstate. It might not seem exciting, but the humble cow completely transformed human life, especially when it came to food and farming. Cattle were first domesticated around 10,000 years ago in the Middle East and India. They provided milk, meat, hides, and most importantly, power. Before machines, cows and oxen were used to plow fields and pull heavy loads. That meant bigger farms, more food, and the rise of permanent settlements. Cows also played a massive role in shaping religions and cultures. In Hinduism, for example, the cow was sacred and deeply respected. In Europe and the Americas, cattle became a backbone of the agricultural economy. And today, there are over 1 billion cows in the world. That's 1 cow for every 8 people. Dogs were likely the first animals ever domesticated, and their bond with humans goes way back, possibly more than 15,000 years. Unlike other animals, dogs didn't just provide food or labor. They were companions, hunters, guards, and even spiritual symbols. Early humans may have survived thanks to their help in tracking prey and defending camps. Throughout history, dogs have had all sorts of jobs, sniffing out danger, rescuing people, herding livestock, and even helping in war zones. And of course, they've become our most loyal pets. It's hard to imagine human society without dogs. They've been there since the beginning. Here's the thing about rats. You don't need to like them. You don't even have to see them. But at some point in your life, they've affected you. I promise. It all goes back to the 1300s. Rats carrying fleas, fleas carrying plague, and within a few years, Europe loses up to half its population. Cities emptied, families gone, entire economies flipped upside down. And it wasn't just a one-time thing. That ripple, the Black Death, it shifted religion, labor laws, even art. Some historians say it laid the groundwork for the Renaissance. All because of some stowaway rodents hitching rides on ships. It's wild to think about. One of the biggest human events of all time started with a flea bite. It's easy to overlook honeybees. They're tiny, they buzz around, they sting you sometimes, but these insects are crucial to life as we know it. Roughly 1 in every 3 bites of food you eat, fruits, vegetables, nuts, even your morning coffee, exists because a bee helped pollinate it. That's not an exaggeration. Almonds? 100% bee pollinated. Blueberries? Same. Without them, large parts of the global food supply would collapse. But bees haven't just been farmers' sidekicks, they've been culture carriers too. Ancient Egyptians used honey in medicine and mummification. The Greeks believed bees were sacred, connected to gods and the soul. Even Napoleon used the bee as his royal symbol, linking it to immortality and hard work. Today, we're facing a crisis known as colony collapse disorder. Bee populations are plummeting due to pesticides, disease, and habitat loss. And here's the scary part. Most of us wouldn't even notice until grocery shelves started looking weirdly empty. We built an entire global food system on the back of this tiny insect. And now, that foundation is starting to crack. The silkworm is one of those animals you probably never think about, unless you're into textiles. But its impact? Massive. More than 4,000 years ago, people in ancient China figured out something kind of magical, that the cocoon of this little caterpillar could be unraveled into one long shimmering thread. That thread? Silk. Silk became one of the most valuable materials in the ancient world. Soft, strong, beautiful, and exclusive. So exclusive, in fact, that for centuries, China kept the secret of silk making completely locked down. Exporting silkworms was punishable by death. Eventually, though, the secret slipped out. And that led to something even bigger, the Silk Road. This trade network connected East and West, from China to Rome and beyond. Along these routes came not just fabric, but religion, philosophy, spices, gunpowder, language, and even disease. It's strange to think about, but one of the most significant cultural exchanges in human history started with a worm. Let's wrap this up with one of the hardest working, least thanked animals in history, the camel. Camels were made for harsh environments. They can go a week without water, carry up to 600 pounds, and navigate blistering desert heat like it's a casual stroll. And because of that, they became absolutely essential to trade across the Middle East, North Africa, and Central Asia. Where horses failed, camels thrived. They weren't fast, but they were unstoppable. They turned impossible routes into active highways, connecting distant civilizations that otherwise would have stayed completely isolated. Thanks to camels, we had the trans-Saharan trade networks, moving gold, salt, ivory, even manuscripts between West Africa and the Mediterranean. Islamic culture spread in large part because of camel caravans. So did architecture, language, and education. It's not an exaggeration to say, no camels, no civilization in the desert. And that's a history most textbooks don't bother to mention. So, when we talk about human history, we usually think about kings, wars, inventions, people. But honestly, that's only half the story. Because behind so many of those moments, the migrations, the trade routes, the plagues, the revolutions, there were animals carrying us, feeding us, changing the rules before we even noticed. Some did it with loyalty. Others did it by accident. A few just did their thing and reshaped the world anyway. It kind of makes you wonder, how many other parts of history were shaped by something we never gave credit to? If you enjoyed this, there's more coming. More stories about how nature and history overlap in the weirdest, most fascinating ways. Let me know in the comments which animal surprised you the most, or which one you think we totally missed. For me, I'm still stuck on the idea that a caterpillar, a silkworm, helped build an international economy. That one just gets me every time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.